Hey everybody, it's ShadowStar here, and it is finally time for a new Doctor Who review. Finally, we have a brand new season. It's time for Season 1, Series 14, Season 40? Oh, who cares about numbers anymore? Also, I don't often do this, but I'm reviewing 2 episodes in one video. Why? Because that's what we do nowadays, apparently. We have 2 episodes back to back. It's not like it was a 2-parter. It's not like the 2 episodes are really connected, but we're going to review them together anyway because I can't be fucked having the 2 episodes be in separate videos. Anyway, let's start off with the first episode, Space Babies. Okay, first off, let's just get it out the way. I'm not that fond of this episode. It's not awful, but I think almost everybody online agrees the second episode is way better, but it's not awful. I did like the opening scene. Before we get into the actual adventure, I love the opening scene. We start with Ruby walking into the TARDIS as she did at the end of the Christmas special. We get the Doctor info dumps everything in one go. Like, usually when of a companion, sometimes they drip feed them things about, I'm a Time Lord, there's this thing, there's that thing, my planet's gone. The Doctor does it all in one go. He's a Time Lord, or is he? He's adopted, he's from Gallifrey, Time Lords have names, the Doctor's not really my name, but it is my name, this is a TARDIS, so on and so forth. We get all that, and it's a really delightful scene. I mean, is there a version of that scene that isn't delightful? And there was one little moment where he talks about the Time Lords being gone, and the music. I'm always going to be complimenting the music, but while Murray Gold is obviously bringing in new music, he occasionally will touch on old music or revamp it. He does revamp the Time Lord Gallifrey theme, Last of the Time Lords theme, that he used in Series 3, and brings it back just a little bit, sneaks it in when we're talking about the Time Lords, which I love. Thank you. But let's get into the bulk of the episode. Babies! Space babies! Why? This is a very silly, light-hearted first adventure, I guess. We've had silly, light-hearted adventures like New Earth, but that's better than this. You can have silly, light-hearted adventures like, say, Partners in Time. I mean, that was also technically space babies, but But the adipose are actually adorable, unlike real babies, which are ugly and gross. But anyway, whatever. There's not much to this story. There's a monster, but we decide to save it. It's not really a monster. It's made of snot, apparently. So, if you thought the eye gunk monsters from Sleep No More wasn't enough, now we have this instead. Okay. Oh, and we basically steal a scene from the end of the world. Remember that end of the scene where Rose says, "Oh, my mum's dead. Here, I'll fix your phone. Call your mum." We repeat that scene almost point for point. We repeat that same scene. Ruby's looking out at the beautiful planet down below. I can't deny that's a beautiful looking shot. But then she's like, "Oh, I guess my mum's dead." And then he's like, "Here, I'll fix your phone." And then he calls her. And it's almost point for point the same dialogue. Why? Why are we stealing that same scene? But anyway, there's space babies, there's the monsters, we save it. There's the person who's working with the babies to help them. And, they do that thing where they said, well, okay, the people in the planet down below, they used to care about this place, but now they don't care, but they think it's wrong to stop the thing that keeps making babies, but they go for a bit of an allegory, obviously. There's a very obvious metaphor at one line where, they say, oh, they let them be born and then they don't give a shit, which, yes, we all know what that's a metaphor for. And while I completely agree with the sentiment, it doesn't quite line up as metaphor. Maybe they could explain how this baby-making machine works, but how does it work? Is it akin to how babies are usually made? Because if so, the metaphor works a bit better. Because otherwise, it's like, well, the babies are just being made. Why don't we just stop the machine? If you stop the machine, is that really akin to what the metaphor is supposed to be? You're not stopping the machine halfway through. You're just stopping machines from making new ones. So the metaphor doesn't quite work. But oh well. Russell clearly loves the Timeless Child. I mean, in every episode so far, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if the second episode mentioned it, but I'm pretty sure every episode mentions the Doctor is adopted. This one did, the Christmas special did, and I'm pretty sure there was a mention in episode 2. But anyway, yeah, I will say, yeah, but like I said, overall, it's an okay first episode. I think most people I've seen online agree. It's an okay first episode. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know Doctor Who has its silly moments, but I thought this was a little too silly. But maybe I just don't care for babies being on my screen. Whatever. But, okay, moving on. I'll probably put a timestamp if you really want to skip ahead. Moving on to episode 2, we have the Devil's Chord. And right off the bat, you can immediately see that this episode is way better because what does this episode actually have? A villain! A really, really, really fun villain played by a wonderful acting person, actor. Sorry, I don't know the person's identity yet. I don't want to. But anyway, but yes, we get this amazing villain, and I don't look too much into information going into the episode, of course, but, I'd seen pictures and I knew that this person was going to be in the episode and they were probably going to play this spectacular villain, but I didn't know how spectacular this villain was going to be. Before we even get into the bulk of the episode, I love the fact that there was a little bit where the piano played the opening credits theme and it leads into the opening credits. And it actually leaded in for more than a split second to the point where I thought they were going to have the whole credits have that version, almost like what happened with Capaldi and his guitar in Series 9, which would have been really fun, but still. Anyway, we start off, we get the villain introduced. They're an absolutely amazing, fun villain. And then obviously then we cut back to Ruby and the Doctor in a TARDIS, and she wants to go see the Beatles, because why not? We see the Beatles, but something's wrong. Their music sucks ass. Nobody really cares about music. All the music in the world is gone. And then finally, the Doctor confronts the villain. And there's this one scene where, the Doctor is hiding, and the Doctor shuts off the sound, and you just hear this quiet ambience in the background, but it's so quiet you almost can't hear it, to the point where I thought my headphones had broken, because you can clearly see them making noise, but there's no noise coming, and I was panicking. But no, that was part of the scene. But anyway, I'm just glad we're in the past. I mean, we've followed the most formulaic 3 episodes. If episode 1 is the Christmas special, we had an Earthbound, we had a future, now we got a past. I love past episodes. I love the fact that he mentioned we're in 1963, which means technically, yes, Susan and William Hartnell are somewhere out there. It also implies that this sets the record for saying that the Doctor and Susan were on Earth for roughly at least a year, assuming that the unearthly child actually does take place in November, and this is in February. So yeah, they were on Earth for at least a whole year in Todder's Lane. Also, if we're not just complimenting music, can we compliment the Doctor's outfit? I mean, I'd seen that promo picture months ago, but let's talk about the Doctor's outfit, because wow, that's a great outfit. But getting back to our villain, I never expected them to connect it to the 60th. They did that tune, the laughing tune from the Giggle. I was like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds like... And then he actually mentions that's a Giggle. And then the villain, the maestro, I should just use their name, the maestro, the music maestro, says their father is the toy maker? Which makes this even more interesting, because didn't the maestro say that their son is that little kid we saw at the beginning playing the piano? And we see that little kid at the very end during the big musical number poke their head out the door. So while episode 1 didn't have much to connect, episode 2 really, really did. Because we get mentions of the Giggle. We get mentions of My Legions Are Coming, The One Who Waits. All those things we weren't sure if they were coming. Yeah, there's something. They're building to something. Oh, speaking of things they're building to, the mystery of Ruby's birth. I mean, we knew they were going to touch on it, but they touched on it in every episode. I should going back to the first episode. There's this one bit where it snows, and they say, we can never go back to your birth, which obviously makes sense, but, there's this one bit where it snows, and then we see a shot of the person who drops off Ruby pointing at the Doctor. And then they bring it up again in this episode. So clearly, they're going somewhere with this mystery. We're mentioning the toy maker. We mentioned the one who waits and the Legion and so on. So everything is tying together. Also, I love that we're in the past. I know I said that already, but I'm one of my I love history. I love history, and the thing about that is one of my favorite historical things to explore is the Cold War. So I love that they mention, obviously they're in the 60s, and there's one bit in the newspaper that mentions Khrushchev, and then, they go into the future and it's apocalyptic, and I'm like, oh, they're apocalyptic because there's no music, but it's more than that, because without music in the world, people are less happy, so they're less optimistic, so therefore, they actually do make more rash decisions, and therefore, the Cold War actually goes hot and we get nuclear Armageddon. It's not that it's an abandoned Earth. It's a nuclear Armageddon. I like that they tied that in. I'm so glad. As somebody who loves history, I'm so glad they tied that in. So there was a lot to love in this episode. The music was fun, Oh, and then, of course, we end with a big musical number, which it was fun. It didn't really matter to the episode as a whole, but it was fun. I don't know why we needed it, but it was fun. I know there are some people who aren't going to be happy because there are some people who weren't happy about there being music in the Christmas special. And when I saw this, I'm like, oh boy, they're not going to be happy about this. And I'm not just talking about the usual crowd, even people who just genuinely don't like musicals. And to be fair, I'm not going to judge you if you don't like musicals. I do. So yeah, I'm sure in don't worry, they're not going to be music every episode. The next episode is the Moffat written episode. I'm pretty sure there won't be music there. But honestly, there was a lot in this episode. I also like the bit where there's this big confrontation near the end with the maestro, and they're restraining Ruby, and they're like, oh, Ruby's the last one with music in their heart. And I don't know why, with Ruby being special, it kind of reminds me of Rings of Akatem with Clara being special, because the mystery of Ruby's birth makes her more special, just like the mystery of Clara's origins makes her more special. I don't know, that's a connection I had in my mind for some reason, but yeah, I think I've covered everything. But yeah, they didn't play into it. I'm surprised how little the Beatles played into it. Because, okay, they appear at the beginning and their music sucks because the music's gone from the world. But I am glad that, at the very end, when the piano gets pushed away, but it still has the musical notes, you see them walking by, and they're the last ones to enter the last few notes that banishes them. So I'm glad that tied it all back into the beginning with the Beatles. So, this episode was a bundle of fun, and they are really leaning into that kind of more fantastical element, because obviously episode 1, obviously the Christmas had goblins, and episode 1 ties into children's stories with a boogeyman. This episode, it's not so much a fantastical element, but once again, it's sort of like the toy maker where, there's a little less logic. They're a world-bending entity. They're, a fifth-dimensional entity or whatever you want to call them. They don't abide by, there's no real, quote, logic. It's just they are what they are, which I don't mind. The show's as wacky as it can be. I don't see why we can't have that. Especially since it's not just a thing we're doing, we're trying to actually tie it in. And I wonder if it's going to continue forever, or it's just the fantastical elements will be the theme of this season. But all in all, I enjoyed both episodes. Well, no, I didn't enjoy. The first one was okay. Wasn't awful, nothing upset me. I wasn't bored, and there was still plenty of good scenes between the Doctor and Ruby. The Doctor and Ruby shined through all of these episodes. That's the important part. But, I didn't care for the silly stuff with the babies. It was too happy and, that. But, if you thought the first episode was too happy, the second episode strikes a balance with being serious at some moments, having a crazy, wacky villain, but also having some fun because it's music. And the next episode seems like it's going to be a more interesting one anyway, but that's next episode. Anyway, I think I've covered it all. I definitely enjoyed episode 2 way more than the first one. And most importantly, we're back with a new season, and I get to talk about Doctor Who for the next 7 weeks. Also, I thought I would originally hate the time slot, but 9 a.m. on a Saturday is actually perfect for me. But enough about that. I will see you next week for more Doctor Who reviews and other things as well. See you next time, guys.